Hi everybody, Hubby here. Good morning to you, afternoon, whenever it is that you're watching the video. And I thought I'd do another C30 update for you, keep you informed. Since how we started a new chain with that, with what secrets does the C30 hold. I want to show you our update on the exhaust manifold leak and tell you where we're going to go from here. So let's go ahead and jump right into that and get started. Here's what we did right here. As you can see, the manifold's back on. We had it off and gotten things scraped off and ready to go. What we ran into when we tried to do it originally was we found that we didn't, if you can see right here, we have a double gasket in here. The reason for the double gasket is this had burned back enough that there was just space, and there's still a little bit of a teeny leak, but we'll just keep tightening up as it heat cycles through everything and see if we can't take care of the issue. But it is immensely more quiet. The other thing that we did is we went to a company called 12bolt.com and we got a new set of bolts for the manifold to go on. The problem, the reason it had leaked in the first place is on this particular bolt, and then the same bolt but from the back, so the second one in from the end back there, we're missing the keepers here that go on this, and they just had washers, and it doesn't put enough pressure to pull it in, and that's what started the burn in the first place. So we've gone ahead and we fixed that. The other thing that we did was over here, if you recall, I told you that we had the distributor in and it was about a tooth off, so we pulled it back out. We got it there. We've got this out such that now that we can do some advanced timing with it, so we'll get that taken care of. We've also cleaned up, I don't think you can see it here, maybe you can, down between the fan and the alternator, is we cleaned off the timing marks. We've marked the pulley where it has the timing notch on it so that we can go ahead and do timing. But before we do that, what we have to do is we got to do a little bit of work on this carburetor because it will not idle. It's running like it's lean, so I think the idle circuit's got crap in it and not allowing it to pull enough in. If you get to idle up and you get past the idle circuit into the transition mid-range and higher, it's running okay. But if you don't leave it on choke, indicating that it's running very, very lean on the lower end, it's going to go ahead and stall it. And we've got to get that fixed before we can do the timing correctly. So that's what we're going to do. We'll go ahead and we'll pull that off. We'll show you what that carburetor looks like inside. If we have to, we'll throw a kit at it and get it back together. If not, we'll use the right stuff. The other thing that we discovered is we filled the radiator up. And the radiator, as it holds and sits water. But as you start to pump it, we get a lot of, sorry about that, we caught the lot of water down here, which forms at the bottom of the radiator. Now, if you just fill the radiator, it's fine. So it's when it's circulating and pressure builds. So we're going to try a little bit of radiator stop leak, which is not the correct way to do this. You should really get it repaired. But again, what we're trying to do is just make it a legitimate mover so that we can move it in and out and we can start all the work on it. So that's the quick update on this. Here's the original intake exhaust manifold. You can see where it really burned off bad here, and parts of it have fallen off. So it had really heated up and really had done a job on that. So we'll go ahead and we'll do that stuff. We'll bring you back in. We'll show you what it is. And once we've got that done, we'll go ahead and release that. So you'll be seeing this one soon. We appreciate your time. Thanks for looking. We'll be back with you shortly. All right, so let's bring you back in here. Let's take a look at the carb here. As you can see, I've got the carb apart. We've done some preliminary cleaning. There's a little bit of gunk in there, but not too much. Everything was primarily in good shape and working. The accelerator pump is good. All checkpoints are good. Main jet and secondary jets. Everything has been blown out with brake cleaner. So it's all clean, everything is flowing, all the holes have been blown out with compressed air as well. So we got everything. Here's what the gas looks like that was in there. So they had some varnish that was doing that. So hopefully we will, if I put it together correctly, after taking it all apart. I still have a few here. I got one spring that still needs to go in here, and then the spring on that. Gasket tore just a little bit, but there's nothing that the right stuff can't take care of. And we'll go ahead and we'll get this back together. We'll get it back in and we'll see if it actually runs. and maybe it comes off and works on a regular idle. So I will bring you guys back into that once we're ready to go. We'll see how it runs, see if we can't get it to tune up and then get it timed. All right, we'll see you in a little bit. Okay, so we're back again. All right, and as you can see, we've got the carburetor all assembled here. It's ready to go, back on. We had a little delay here. It's been about a day or two. And the reason for that is we had to go in order and get a gasket to put the carburetor back on. Now, I also have, let's take this as a teaching moment. I have the right stuff, and I do use the right stuff in certain situations. But this is one situation where you're not going to use the right stuff as your gasketing material, and there's a reason for that. So let's talk about why you wouldn't do that in this case, okay? So I want to ask you a question here, show you something. Here's the intake flange. I don't know if you can see it, if you can get close enough there, but on there's a reason why you don't do that. And why don't you do that? Well, the reason why you don't use the right stuff is that you have vacuum notches. You see the notches right next to the bolt holes? Those have to be open in order to generate vacuum on the vacuum ports for the carburetor. Otherwise, you're going to have no vacuum and nothing's going to work. The reason we don't use the right stuff is, it being a pasty liquid like that, it's good, when you clamp it down, it's going to spread out and get to it, and it's almost impossible to stop it from getting into there when you use it in that fashion. Now, you could do it by applying to it, making sure that it was clear, and then totally letting it set up and then applying it. But that's how not how the right stuff generally works. It wants to be put on and then cinched down and then allowed to dry to do that. But that's basically what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the carburetor on. We're going to get it all set up, and then we'll come back and we'll see how it runs. See if it does run in the first place, if I screwed up anything. When you're rebuilding your carbs, then we didn't rebuild it. We just cleaned it and then put it back together. And I'll show you a place where we did use the right stuff. If you look right there, you'll see the gray sticking out. You can use it there because you don't have to worry about sealing up those ports. There are a couple that you want to keep open, but all we did is we just put a little skim coat on the gasket because a couple areas broke to make sure that it seals, and I think it'll be fine there. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to put it on. We'll bring you back when we go to get it started, and we'll see where we're at. Hopefully we'll have a nice solid runner and we can go ahead and time it, and we'll be able to drive it around and we can start the serious work on it. All right, guys, so hang on and we'll be back in just a little bit. Okay, I don't know about you guys, but I would call that better. Idling, no choke. Let's see if it'll rev. I haven't tried that yet. Let's see if we can give it some gas. See what happens. Okay, looks like we might have an accelerator pump issue though. Now it's cleaning up. Seems like it's running okay. A lot quieter too. That little bumping you're hearing underneath is actually that cherry bomb going off. So looks like we're gonna go ahead and set the timing on it. So let's go ahead and get the timing set up, and we'll see what we get with it. So give me just a second, we'll be right back. Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. We're going to do another little update here. Continue on, I should say, with the update on the C30. If you recall, and I'm sure you do, because I've said it probably 100 times in this video, stringing all these little updates together, we're trying to get her to reliably move. And what we've gone and we've done is we've cleaned out the carburetor. We showed you that. We got it running pretty well. We've gone ahead and we've timed it. Got all of it set up. The exhaust manifold still leaks a little bit. Right about here, you can see where some of it's dark, where it's coming up. The bolts tend to loosen a little bit, so we're letting them run through the heat cycle and keep tightening them up, and we'll get it as good as we can. It's never going to be perfect. And the other thing that we discovered was that the radiator was leaking massively, because when we got it up to temperature and we let it run a little bit, and pressurized, it pumped water right out the bottom of the radiator, and I had a swimming pool underneath the C30. So let me walk outside here and show you what we got. This is the radiator that we took out. As you can see, it's pretty messed up right down at the bottom here, but you can see the big gaps. I hope you can see the big gaps there. Some of the tubes are split, and I contemplated using some of the stop a leak, but it just isn't going to cut it because it's such a leak. I also pulled the shroud off, as you can see here. And the reason for that is that when we went and ordered a new radiator, we had to make a choice. It's either replace it with an original that would fit in there at $185 or so, or go ahead and get a nice lower cost $105 aluminum that's built primarily for a V8. And seeing how we're going to take this to a V8 rather than keep the 6-cylinder in an overall, we went ahead and we got the aluminum radiator. Should be able to, I'm sorry, let's get you to a better position. See it right in there. It fits in, it's going to fill the gap. I've got to make some bracketry on the side in order to get it in, and then we'll have to change the hoses up in order to get that done. So basically what we're going to do here is, it's 16 inches on the sides. We've got the stanchion mounts that we can mount to, so we made 2 brackets. One is basically about 1 inch aluminum angle iron. The other one's 1.5 inches aluminum angle iron. Excuse me. And the larger one's going to go on the driver's side right here, where all it's going to do is attach to the stanchion mount for the radiator, and then into the radiator core support on this side. And we're getting a little tighter over here, as you can see, because we have the battery box and other things. We're going to do the same thing over here, just with the smaller piece of aluminum. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to get that all set up, get it in there. We'll show you the results of that, and we'll come back. Hopefully we can get this to the point. I think that when we do that, we've got it to the point, and we got it cooling effectively. We got it to the point we'll be able to run it out and do the work on it until we're ready to change over that complete drivetrain to what it's going to be. So just hang tight. We'll be back with that. We'll show you the results of it, and then we'll continue on. Good morning. We're back a couple days since we last gave you an update on the C30, so we're going to do a little bit more. So let's go ahead and jump into it. We got the radiator. Radiator came in. As you recall, the small one was really bad. So we got a aluminum, and it's a V8 radiator. The reason for that is, of course, a V8's going in this. So if you're going to put something in, we might as well put something in that we're going to have for a long time. We've got kits ordered for the hose. We're going to use the flex hose. It's not optimal, but we're going to use it to get it set up. We ran into a problem because this is a 1 3/4 outlet, and the max they go is like 1.6 or something. So the adapters that fit over this are too small, but I was able to find some on Classic Industries, and we have those on order, so we'll get that hooked up. What we did do is, it's hard to see because it's dark in here, so let me put some light on it, is we put a T in here to go ahead and do a flush. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull it out and we're going to flush this, because when I took the other radiator out, it was full of crap, ugly stuff, and I don't want to go ahead and interject that into the brand new radiator. So we're going to set you up, and we're going to pull this out. We don't have any brakes, so we're going to be playing the clutch a whole lot. Hopefully everything will go smoothly, but we're going to set you up, and we'll show you it being pulled out, since I owe you a motion video anyways. All right, so let's get set up, and we'll go from there. So let's see what we get. Set you up on the tripod. Bring over. How about we do here? See it going out. There we go. Set you up. Let's see if we can get this sucker running and get it out of here. This window does not go down correctly. There we go. So she's out. As you can see, she's running pretty well. I don't know if you can hear it well, but she's idling. Very nice. We got the timing and everything set. But we're going to turn her off because we got no cooling. So we'll turn her back on. We'll show you when we do the flush. We got to get set up to do that. It looks like I need to put a battery in this thing. So hang on tight. We'll be right back and we'll take care of that. All right, so we're hooked up here. I got you on the tripod. Let me pull you off real quick and show you how we're outside, obviously. And we got the hose set up. I have a lovely assistant who's going to turn the water on and off first to make sure we don't have any massive leaks. And we'll set this up and we'll start it and make sure everything functions. But as you can see, she's out there. So I'm going to wave at my lovely assistant and have her turn the water on. And everything looks okay. Let's check the inside, make sure we don't have a heater core leak that's spilling water all over the inside. Which I don't see any. That's good news. We're running out the block here, so let's go ahead and we're going to put you up on the tripod and get it started. Point you towards the heavens. Getting close. Hopefully water won't go everywhere. Let's fire her up and see what she does. Let's pull you off. So she's running. We still got the leak there for the exhaust. Can't work too much out. Oh, gotta push that choke in, or we're gonna lose it. Oh, we lost it. Oh, you know what helps? If we turn on the gas, actually. That would be helpful. There we go. Let's give it a little choke. Uh-oh, sounds like we flooded it. There we go. I'm gonna warm up a little. Give her just a little bit of choke. Pitching her up just a little. And I think we're good. Of course, it helps to have gas going into the carburetor to run. See, she's idling pretty well. We got all kinds of gunk coming out. Washing, got dirty ass water coming out. I don't know if you can see. You can see the water probably. I don't know how you can see if it's dirty, but it's pretty dirty. We're gonna let this run a little bit, warm up. Got water running through it, so it should be okay. See if the water temp gauge eventually comes on. See if that upper thermostat opens. So I'm going to go ahead and put you guys down and put you into a mode here. You can see. Okay, and we'll come back when we're towards the end because you don't need to see 20 minutes worth of even in time lapse. Alright, so we'll be right back once we get to a conclusion. Alright, so it's been like 10 minutes. As you can see, we got pretty clear water coming out. Well, I don't know if you can see, but I'm assuming. I'm telling you. It's got pretty clean water coming out of it. So we've done a pretty good job flushing this block. Nothing seems hot on it. So the water's been flushing in there. Let's check and see if we've got any reading on our temperature gauge. Nope, nothing on our temperature gauge. Battery works though. We got good oil pressure. Ignore the fuel gauge because there isn't one sitting there because we got the sender unit out. And so we're going to go ahead and get this thing set up. We're going to pull her back in so we can do more work on her. And you guys just hang tight. We'll be right back when we go to move her in. And we'll continue the saga. All right, let's see if we can get her back in. Interior handle fell off. And I don't know where it is. It's probably out on that. It fell through the crack and sit. Yep, I can see it sitting right there. Anyways, well, we're inside. So, time to move forward. So let's go ahead and get set up with what we're going to do. And again, we'll be back. All right, so as you can hear, the C30's running. We're got cooling set up. Checking for leaks. Got a little bit. I can feel some coming off. Not sure exactly where that's coming from. But we got some water coming somewhere. Just a little bit slick off the fan. We coupled this because that was broken up there. We were able to use the lower radiator hose. Light on for you. If we can move it forward. Got a leak somewhere. We have to track that down. It's running on its own fuel. What we did is we put I'll show you under here, an electric pump. I had an electric, the mechanical was not working at all on it, so we went ahead and wired that in. Yeah, it looks like it's low. It might be coming off the water pump. Might have a water pump seal leak. Looks like we might have to address a little bit more. But it is coming up the temperature. It is cooling. It's running fairly well, as you can hear. It revs pretty well. So a couple little things. Next major thing is brakes, so that we can make sure that it'll stop, and then we got an ambulatory for anything that we need to do with it. So stay tuned. We'll give you another tune-up once we track down that water. Flick it off of there, which I think is the water pump, and as we address the brakes. All right, thanks guys. We'll see you in a bit. All right, we're back to it again. Let's go ahead and do an update on this C30 again here. I'm not sure where we left off the last time, so we'll just kind of cover everything. So let me show you what we got here. We've got the radiator completely in, and what we did here is we got one of those flexible kicks off of Amazon. I did have to enlarge this end because this is 1 3/4 ID on the radiator top. So what I did is I took a half round file and filed about half the length there in order to take enough on so it would fit over, because these max out at 1.6. Put the back tube in, put it, now they have good covers, but I'm not using them because it was interfering with stuff. The radiator is firmly in there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the bottom one. Let's get some light on the subject here. You can see there the bottom fire hose, radiator hose here. I was able to use the original for that. It was close enough to where we could just move it and keep it out of the fan's way. So it works fine. We did, when we first ran it and pressure checked it, found a leak here. You can see, I hope you can see it. What we have here is just some cracks in this tube, this inlet tube here. So what we'll do is we'll straighten it up, we'll clean it off, and we'll go ahead and we'll solder it, and that should be fine. I did get into the heater box just to clean out the top. Everything looks fine in there, no leaks or anything. We'll run it. I just looped the heater hose back around onto the T. It looks like we got a little drip going on there. We'll have to tighten that up and fix that, but we just looped that back around there. We've run it. It does cool. It's got a 180 thermostat in it. The 180 thermostat kicks on just fine and everything runs. The temperature gauge still doesn't work yet, so we're gonna work on that. We've got a new sensor for it to put in. We're gonna go ahead and put that in and see if that fixes it. If it doesn't, I have a temperature gauge we can ring to, because I'd kind of like to know what the temperature of the engine is when we're running. And remember, our goal is just to make this a reliable mover. The other thing that we did was we've got fuel going to this. Now the fuel pump on the 230 was shot. It didn't work. Right down here. You can see it. Well, let's get the light back on again. I don't know why I keep turning it off on you. Down there did not work, and the spare one I had a torn diaphragm in it. So what I did is I just ran, you can see the line here, it's AN4 line, actually metal coated. It's got a poly interior to it. We just ran it up the fuel rail from the tank, and I happen to have a electric fuel pump extra. We're going to go into here first and show you that what we did is we put a new sending unit on right there. It's a brand new sending unit on it, because it was totally gunked and clogged. Nothing leaks, everything is good through there. And then what we did is we just ran it. I just ran a wire over. There was on the block an ignition exciter line. It's that red one that you can see right there. And using deleted holes in the floor, we just routed it down underneath. It goes into the frame rail, connects to a relay. The relay goes into powers, and I just hooked a power line from the battery, ran it down the frame rail. Again, we'll clean everything up here to make sure that it powers. Let me show you. I'll turn it on. You can listen for the fuel pump to kick in. Listen very quietly. You can hear it running. Comes on, fires right up generally. Well, let's set the choke. See if it'll fire up here. There we go. Shikes, you gotta do a little bit more adjustment on that carburetor because she wants to be a little bit richer. So we gotta tweak the. This has only got one low setting on it. We'll tweak that. So what I do is I just pull the choke a little bit to loosen it up. We do have a little leak on the water pump. You can see it'll start to splash water once it starts to pump. Not very big. We may not worry about it at all, but remember we just want to get it moving. We've yanked the master cylinder off of the booster because we're going to try and get brakes going next on this, and it's over here on the bench. We have it filled with fluid, and we've been going ahead and pumping it. See if you can see that. And it does pump. It pumps just fine. And there's no leaks on it. So we're going to be able to just go ahead and use that. Get it back on. We'll see if there's any leaks in the system. And we will get the brakes pumped up. Now, this is Memorial Day. Let me turn that light off because we're pretty much done with that. We're going to go ahead and turn the C30 up, but as you can tell, it's running pretty well. And we'll show you some of the timing on it as well. We timed it, so everything is running fairly good. But it's probably been, I don't know, almost 2 weeks since I went ahead and did any filming on this. And a couple reasons for that. Reason number one for that is I had a COVID week where I had COVID. It wasn't too bad. It was pretty mild, but you know, you feel crappy. You don't want to be out here. So I was down for the day doing that. And the second thing is I had to take a little bit of time off to help the family, the wife out. This is Memorial Day that I'm doing this particular filming on this section. Oh, and here comes the rain. So we're going to record a little bit in the rain here. But the reason for that is we had to stop. My wife has been in childcare for over 40 years, and she wanted to put an in-home center. So we had to stop and build what we call the kid corral. So we had to go and plan that all out, go ahead and put the posts in and build the fencing up for it. We're also helping inside. She's finishing up her work on the inside because we have our inspector coming tomorrow to come and check everything out. But this is the kid corral that we built. We've been in businesses for in childcare for, oh god, we've owned several for over 25 years. We sold them and of course moved back up here to Massachusetts from Texas. And she wants to get back into it, and she wants to start with in-home child care, and then we'll probably go out and look for other child cares to purchase and rebuild up what we had done. Hers is saving the world one child at a time, so that's where my delay is. But we're back on all the projects now. This is for the C30. I will do an update for, if you're watching the Corvette project, we'll have an update coming up for that real soon. We'll also start talking a little bit more about what we're going to do with this puppy right over here. If you've been keeping up with the saga of the little red Corvette, you know that it is going to get restored by a master mechanic up in New Hampshire. He saw it on Facebook. I had posted it for a little bit and we ended up trading. This is a, you can't see it underneath it. I'm going to have a separate video on it coming out. It is a Chrysler, 1961 Chrysler Imperial LeBaron. Not a lot of them made. It's in pretty decent shape, actually. So that'll go on to the project list, and we'll see what we want to do. All right, so that's the recap on the C30. You'll see it moving here pretty soon. Once we get it moving, we're going to start to do some other work on it, and you'll get to see that, and we'll do it in a separate video. So there may be one more update before I close this video out and you see it posted, or you may not. So we will see you again shortly, or you will see the video ending right here. Appreciate it, guys. Do all that jazz for me. I'm going to say it several times, always. Helps us grow the channel, and do other things for you guys, so we appreciate it. So have a good one. Hey, have a great Memorial Day as well, and a great summer coming up. Thanks a lot. Hi there. Hope things are going well. Excuse me. Wanted to do another update on the C30 real quick on the braking issue. We've got everything basically plumbed in and ready to go. We are going to change the temperature sensor and see if we can't get the temperature gauge working. We have a backup gauge we can install, and I've talked about this already, I think. Just so that we can keep an eye on the temperature engine. Again, we're just trying to get a reliable mover going around here. We want to have a little bit of brake. So we're working on the brakes here, so let me show you where we're at. Basically what we've done is I've shown you that the unit, let's put a little light, sorry about that, my hand in the way. The master cylinder we've taken off. Oh, looks like that battery is about to die. We've taken that off and we pumped it and it works fine. I had to cut the line and I tried to put it on a rebend and it ended up kinking, as you can see it right over there. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically, as I screw up this video all over the place. Anyways, what we're going to do is we're going to basically try and get a new master feed line to go on down and come in here. I've got the brakes off, I got the wheels off, I got it up on the lift, as you can see, just enough to go ahead and work on it. I'm waiting for the correct size nut to go ahead and pull that off. I didn't have anything large enough to do that, so that we can pull it off and take a look, make sure that the cylinders aren't leaking. Everything in here is really tight. We're going to go ahead when we do the overall plan anyways and probably replace all the ball joints and bushings. We might even, if we can find a kit, change this from a heavy duty drum to a heavy duty disc brake in the front if we can do for the overall project. But we're going to do that planning video really soon. I just wanted to do this and show you where we are with the brakes. Biggest issue problem is right here, is where that line comes down and feeds the front and then goes off and breaks to the back. So we're trying to break that free and get there. If that doesn't work, what we're going to do is cut the line on a straight. We'll go ahead and we'll flare it and we'll put a fitting on it. We'll use a coupler and we'll couple and we'll connect it that way. But I like to do it cleanly if I can do that. So we'll keep you up to date on what's happening in here. We'll show you the different stages with it. It's a pain to position you and you know, you don't need to see, at least my impression is 20 minutes worth of you know, warp speed time-lapse video of something you've seen all over the spot. You just need to see where we're at and what the outcomes are. And if there's anything special, we'll go ahead and we'll show you that. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and we're going to basically wrap up with getting a little bit of brakes on this in terms of the update videos. Then we're going to stop, change gears. We're going to do the planning video, line out all the rest of the videos that we're going to do to get this converted over to do what we want. And then we'll start the full series on that, pulling that out. And if you're watching the vet series, it'll run parallel to the vet series so you can jump back and forth. We're also going to start the boat up pretty soon so that we can get that thing on the water, get the floor in. So you see that as well, just a little generalized updates with this. So we'll bring you back when we got something done here and show you where we're at. All right, so we'll see you in a bit. All right, we're back again. Let me show you what we got here, okay? We're going to get down underneath this. I'm going to turn this light on. And I'm going to try and turn the light on. Anyways, there we go. Up in here, point it up. And you can see, as you can see right up there, we were able to go ahead and pop that off and put in a new line. All we did was bend a new line there. It took heat. We just heated the living daylights out of it and hit it with some WD-40. It loosened up and it popped. So we got it out. So we got the main feed line going down. As you can see here, these are all cracked. So eventually everything's going to have to be, but that's part of the plan, right? Everything will go ahead and be swapped out. But let's continue with this update for a little bit. And all we did for the line is we just flared the new line and went ahead and then just ran it down there. So we just did the length, we just bent it by hand. Everything worked fine. I use the Capri. You've probably seen them on other videos all over the place. It's the Capri system. I went online and just bought a kit for 1/4 and 3/16. Came with that bunch of fittings that you have for that. And I got the Capri right here. And you can do this off or on the car. This is a 1/4 inch. And it's pretty easy. All you really do is you just slip your line right in here. Loosen these 10mm bolts. Slip your line into the stop. They give you this as a little stop. You screw the stop in onto the line like this. Clamp everything down. Once you clamp it all down, you pull your stop out. You switch over to the fitting that does it. It's marked OP1 right here. This is the OP1 side. You dip it in the fitting grease. You put it in there and you crank it down all the way. Crank it down all the way. Put your wrench on it. It does your primary flare base with the OP1. Then you unscrew it. You just flip it around. Do the OP2. Same thing. Dip the end in the grease so it doesn't create friction, and it helps it do that, and it creates your bubble flare. Okay, you just undo it and you pull the line out. No big deal. It works great. I recommend them strongly for doing brakes. You can certainly get hydraulic ones if you're going to do a bunch of brakes, but if you're not going to do a bunch of brakes and you're just going to, even if you're going to do a bunch of brakes, it works well. So that's where we're at. We're going to do one more update for you here where we swap out the temperature sensor right there and see if we can get temperature reading on this. I'm not sure, and if it doesn't work, well, I have a gauge that we can, a new gauge, a third-party gauge that we can put in there. I'm not sure how far we're going to go on the brakes, because what happens with most of the brakes is you go and you repair certain sections of it. You then get into additional problems, right, because stuff breaks. And then you fix it, you power up the pressure, it pops another line. Because everything is old here. You can see where we were stepping on it and pumping it up. And underneath here, you can see, right in there, leakiness. It's coming out of that line. And we'll have to bleed the brakes. And so we may be able to break the bleeders free, or we may not. I do have the transmission brake if we have to. So what we're probably going to do here is I'm going to play this by ear in terms of the brakes. I have the front wheel off here. I do want to see what the brakes are inside. So once my larger socket comes to crank off the nut for the bearings and stuff, I can pull the wheel off. We'll take a look. I'm also going to try and break free some of the nuts on the rears, and we'll get a look at the rears to see how those look. If they're beefy, if they're primarily together and everything's pretty clean inside, the cylinders aren't leaking and all that type of stuff, we'll probably go ahead and just do line to line and then go ahead and bleed the brakes and have a set of brakes. It would be nice if you have pedal brakes rather than using the retainer brakes. We'll take it that far, but if not, we're then going to stop. So I'm going to do one more update on all of that for you with respect to the updates. Then we're going to go and do the planning video on this, where we tell you about everything that we're going to do to it, how many videos we're going to break into it, and then we'll go ahead and once we get that, we'll start on the first one. I'm getting fairly excited about this. I want to see it done. I've had a lot of thoughts that I've drawn down, so we'll see what we're going to do there, and we'll keep up with the other projects too if you're following those. So we'll be back with the final update. We'll roll this one out, and then you'll see the planning video drop, and we'll start on the other videos with what we're going to do. And we'll talk in the planning video what that's going to be. All right, so we'll be back in just a little bit once we get all that other stuff all wrapped up. We'll sum it all up. We'll show you everything that's working and how hard it was. And if we run into anything particular, like how you change this or do that and you haven't seen it, we'll go ahead and we'll chronicle it. So hang on there. We'll be right back with what we got. Well, hi there. We're back again. We're going to give you an update on where we are with the C30. This is going to wrap up the update video. I've already released the planning one, so you can look at that, and you can see how we're going to do this and how many steps we're going to take to do this on that. But let me go ahead and let me wrap up this update section on you, tell you where we're at, what we're going to do, and I may do a real quick short just to show you the end results of it. But this is going to be the last video, last section in the video, and we're going to wrap up that update. So let's put some light on it. We're in the engine compartment, okay, and it's all set. Everything is good to go. It's running well. We got water pumping to it. We got a sensor. The sensor did not work, so the interior gauge has got an issue. What we did is we had our backup gauge, and we just went ahead and put it on right there so that we know what the interior temperature is. So we're going to be good to go with that. We've popped off the 2 front axle brakes, and they look fine. There's no indications of leaks on the cylinders. The bearings are okay. Remember that we're going to swap this out when we go and we do the section. It's going to get upgraded to a disc brake. So that's good news. So we can get some brakes in this thing and not have to worry about replacing the front cylinders, the wheel cylinders, because they're not leaking. There's no indication that there's a leak with that, and everything spins fine. The bearings are fine. There's enough meat on the shoes to go ahead and give us some brakes. Now, what I did run into is when I pulled the back brake off here, and I'm going to show you, the wheels drums look fine. Everything looks fine there. The bearings are all fine, but we have discoloration right here in this section indicating that we have a leaking wheel cylinder. And seeing how we're going to have a video where we do the whole thing, the whole rear end, and resurface it and everything, we're not going to do anything here. What we're going to do is we're going to put this all back together. We're going to go ahead and seal off the rear drive line for the brakes. Remember, all we're trying to do is make a reliable mover, so we just want it to have some brakes so it'll stop for us when we're driving it around, as we move it around and we do the work on it. So we're just going to wrap up the rear brakes, put everything back together. We're going to go ahead and wrap up the front brakes, put that all back together. We're going to go ahead and plug off the rear drive from the brake system. We're going to pump front into the front. We're going to bleed the fronts. We're going to get the front brakes going, and then we're going to call it good. So we're going to pronounce it ready to go, moving it in and out, and we're going to get the full deal going with the first video to go ahead and start do the conversion on this thing. So that's where we're at. I hope you guys find it interesting. We're going to wrap up this update video with this right here, and you'll see us with the planning video, which is already dropped, and then the first video is we go to work on the C30. So keep an eye open for that. It's coming up real soon. So again, thanks a lot for watching. We really do appreciate you taking the time, and please do all that jazz so that we can grow the channel and keep giving you guys great content. We appreciate it. Thanks a lot.